From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Friday's edition of For the People on this March the 9th. This is the day that we actually put together the broadcast that airs all across the country on the weekends, and unbelievable audience that listens on podcast. So if you're getting the podcast version, appreciate you so much downloading that and telling other people about the broadcast. We're really trying to pick up, honest to goodness, a new platform where we can expand what we actually do. Something that I've been doing for a long time, and the broadcast was a daily broadcast up until not too long ago, where I had to really slow down a little bit and kind of refocus some of my efforts because we were listener supported. It's kind of a tough way to go, and we were just trying to figure out exactly how we could make this thing work, and we're still trying to figure all that out. But one thing is for sure, we really feel that at For the People, we need to be an answer to some of our country's biggest problems, because we have some major issues that we are having to fight to remain free, remaining sovereign, remaining a decent place to be on the planet. And I think that we're losing a lot of that moral high ground, unfortunately, from a lot of folks that have different ideas. And I am so grateful, for one, that we're rid of Barack Hussein Obama and his cronies. I can't think of another way of saying it, but these folks have really given a place for, I believe, more hatred towards police officers. Louis Farrakhan went off, and all these Dems now renouncing, thankfully, because of Republicans saying you ought. But many should step down because they subscribe to a lot of this racism that they have accused Donald Trump of, which there is nothing that paints Donald Trump with David Duke or any other hate group out there. But Louis Farrakhan, ladies and gentlemen, is a dangerous guy. And we're going to be talking about Louis Farrakhan, some of the things that he had to say, but it's just, it is a very sad day for me to read about and hear about somebody that has given a voice that, believe me, does not coincide with many people in the Islam religion that worship Allah, do not believe the crap that is spewed out of the mouth that, quite honestly, is very satanic and no better than the mullahs and no better than David Duke and the KKK. It's demeaning against Jews, demeaning against the religion that he hides behind. And to be honest with you, I think the guy's a straight-up coward. Straight-up coward. And anybody that subscribes to this, that has hung out with him and thinks that that's okay, that's acceptable, then you need to find yourself another home. That's not the America that I grew up to. It's not the America that my grandfathers fought for, or my own father. That's not the America that I know of, and that I'm going to, just sit idly by and allow that to happen. So, to me, you have to take these news stories in and have some righteous anger, because Louis Farrakhan, again, and I have to repeat this, I'm not a Muslim, but I have friends that are. I am a Christian, but I will tell you, this is not the voice of peaceful Islam that many of my friends have practiced for many years. And these are not the type that want to go around cutting your head off or making fun of a particular religion. They are peaceful people, flag-waving people. They actually even serve in the military, a few of these other guys that I know, that love the military, love defending our freedoms here. And they're terrific people. So they don't need Louis Farrakhan sitting there and blaming a particular group of people, the Jews, for all the problems of the world, or the FBI, or whatever this conspiracy out there, that the world is coming to a hell in a handbasket because of this group or that group. Human beings, my friend, human beings. It's like saying that the whole race, and every single Jew, every single black, every single white, is responsible for everything. That's just insane. Why don't we just call it a human issue, human beings, a breakdown? That's a matter of fact. That's what it is. I mean, you got to be real about this, folks. You got to be sensible about it. Many of you have been experiencing a lot of snowfall, and I'm looking up at Massachusetts there at the weather maps there, and some of the news stuff coming out of there today, and this is unbelievable numbers. Very sad story here with residents without electricity. 230,000 right now in Massachusetts without power. And this was just last night, and it followed by New Jersey with 140,000 outages. In Connecticut with more than 80,000 homes where the lights were out. The Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency warned residents about conditions from the storm on Twitter last night. Significant heavy, wet snowfall causing damage to trees, wires, utility poles, and power outages in communities across the state. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker told reporters that they should avoid unnecessary travel. There we go. During the storm's aftermath. Don't go out. You'd think that would be a no-brainer, but people like to go out, and they're looky-loos, and like to see what the heck's going on, and explore, and they get stuck or slide and hit something, and just stupid things that are happening. But this is not over, so if you think this thing's going to blow away, they're talking about a third nor'easter. March really does come in like a lion, according to one newscaster. Third nor'easter, very possible next week, depending on which storm models wins out. And there's two of them here. ABC News reported the latest American and European computer models split on where it's going, and the third one, nor'easter, coming out of the storm, moving through the south that already promises severe storms this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, along Gulf Coast from Arkansas to Florida. All right, so here's the models. The American model. The storm remains larger and colder, moving to Kentucky and Tennessee, then into southern Appalachian Mountains on Sunday evening, and then it redevelops Monday into the mid-Atlantic coast, bringing snow from Washington, D.C. to New York, in the New York City area. And then coastal low will strengthen on Monday afternoon, much like the second nor'easter, then move up the coast, bringing heavy snow for most of I-95 corridor from Washington to Boston and then into Maine. And then the European model, this is the second model, okay? A much weaker storm system moves along the Carolina coast on Monday with mostly rain during the day, evening, and then by Monday night moves into the Carolina coast and brings no precipitation to the northeast. And so there you go. Like the American model, the European model, I know for at least hurricanes, the European model usually is the most accurate one. So we'll see what happens here, but wouldn't be surprised if a third doesn't peak out. But folks, be careful out there. A lot of crashes. New Jersey State Police reported that troopers responded to 530 crashes. 530 crashes, I'm not even kidding, that assisted 1,017 motorists on roads they patrolled. That's a lot of folks out there, so don't go out. 16 inches of snow fell in Philadelphia suburbs, while the city reported 6 inches, according to Philly.com. And then the Portland Press-Herald reported that thousands lost power in Maine as the nor'easter produced gusty winds, and wind gusts topped, 40 miles an hour there? A foot of snow dropped in many areas of the state by mid-afternoon, shutting down traffic in all northbound lanes in Interstate 95, Exit 32 in Biddeford, and Exit 36 in Saco. And the Central Maine Power reported that nearly 13,000 customers will still without power as of last night. So hopefully make some hot cocoa for your power guy. If you see him out in the utility, make sure he's nice and warm. Those guys got a tough job out there, bundled up on those poles. They get paid well, but, man, that's definitely not a job that I'd want. But so if you're dealing with that or have family that's dealing with that and they're doing the best they can. I have a cousin that says that she's been without power now for several days and trying to just, I guess they have a generator, so that's not a bad thing. Generators are a good thing, no matter if it's a nor'easter, if it's a tornado or hurricane or whatever. Having one of those ready to go in the garage where you can make sure you don't run that thing in the house. I don't know why people think they can do that, or they'll put it in the garage and then the fumes and all that stuff gets in the house. You got to make sure that you open up the garage door and have this thing outside somewhere on a porch, but you're not sucking in the fumes, man. That's where people end up dead, and unfortunately it happens. All right, the biggest news besides the nor'easter is a lot of people, I'm saying don't be too celebratory about this just yet, but Donald Trump's going to jump at the chance to meet with the dear leader, Kim Jong-un. This is the breaking news. This was everywhere. People are talking about it everywhere, and it's big news because apparently the South, with their delegation and talking with Kim Jong-un, came to some kind of agreement that they want to denuclearize North Korea. And that's got CNN, that's got pundits alike from the left saying that if Donald Trump and his administration can pull this off and denuclearize North Korea, they're saying right now already, yes, CNN, that Donald Trump's going to go down as one of the best presidents, greatest presidents. I mean, these are the words that are being used already. I like guys like John Bolton. John Bolton was the former ambassador to the UN, and right out of the park, he basically just says, look, and he's very sensible, knows the world, knows the rhetoric, knows the conversation. I mean, talk about rhetoric. This is something that the North has been doing to the United States for many, many years, and for, 25, 30 years plus, insulting the United States, promising all sorts of things to us and to the world governing, and they're not listening. They're not abiding by it. And so what many have said, before I tell you what John Bolton, pretty much painted, is the reason they think Kim is doing this is because he's broke, that the country is just brought to its knees. They don't have money. Sanctions are really starting to hurt, taking effect, and they're realizing, that they can't survive like this. And so perhaps there was a great awakening. Maybe he realizes that his days would be so numbered if he would choose to do otherwise. The other side of that coin is that he's buying more time, and that's why many are saying be cautious and cautiously optimistic at the time. John Bolton, his sensibility basically just says that if this is a possibility, and we're just entertaining the remote possibilities of having inspectors go in there to make sure that he is totally going to denuclearize, we would have to have total access to the country. You're talking about a reclusive country, North Korea, that lets nobody in. We would have to be able to get in and do our work and be able to go where we want to go bring up those satellite pictures, because a lot of these nukes, supposedly, or a lot of these missiles that they can launch are